Welcome back to another video, and this is my collective makeup review video of February. Welcome back, and today we're doing maybe a bit of a random collective makeup review video. I'm saying this because we don't actually have that many products that I usually have within these videos, and these are truly pretty bit like random things that I got either during the end of like last year's Christmas presents or that I bought during the like sort of January time. So, but I thought that I still wanted to review these and give my opinion about them. So that is why I sort of decided to film this one. Most of the products here are we have some stuff from the limited edition Essence chocolate collection that came out during in the just beginning of January. There's gonna be one face palette from Benefit that was a Christmas present, and then we have some individual eye products that I didn't want to put in my, for example, eyeshadow palette review video because those are like individual eye products rather than palettes. But we're gonna do this how we usually do. So I'm first gonna maybe discuss how we're gonna do this. Actually, I'm first gonna discuss the one individual lip product that I have, then let's go to the cheek products, and then lastly let's cover the sort of individual eye products that I have for this one. Okay, so let's start with the sort of individual lip products, and for this one I'm not gonna be doing a swatch video because it's a swatch image because it's a clear lip oil. So from the Essence chocolate collection I got it Love It Choco a lot. So this is the sort of lip oil that came with the collection, and my doe foot is dirty because I've been using this over a lip liner, or like an orange leaning lip liner, so it's not the color of the sort of lip oil, it's the like lip liner that has stuck to the doe foot, so ignore that one. This goes sheer to your lips even though it does look a bit orange on your like on the inside the tube. I'd say this is an okay sort of lip oil formula. It's nothing spectacular. This definitely does smell like chocolate. That's because that's the sort of theme of this kind of collection. One thing that I would say about this doe foot, I did feel that you do have to kind of dig into the tube several times to get a sort of even layer of product to your lips. So that is not something that I'm usually a big fan of. Also, I don't feel there's that much product within this tube, but I'd say it's a decent lip oil, and if you especially like the sort of experience of having a chocolate scent on your lip products, this could be something fun to get. This probably is something, again, geared more towards teens that a lot of Essence makeup is geared towards, but I do know there are people who enjoy scented lip products, so for those this could be a good product. This will obviously like wear off immediately if you eat or drink with this one, so you do have to reapply this during the daytime, but it is very comfortable. I don't think this is necessarily the most nourishing, like considering that lip oils are more like skincare type of thing. So I don't think it's like a super nourishing lip oil, but if you're looking for something to keep your lips hydrated, then this is something that it probably is easy to throw in your bag and it doesn't cost a lot because it's Essence. Is this something probably that I would go out and rebuy? No, I have plenty of like different kind of lip products in my collection, also because it is just a like lip oil, so in terms of like, for example, gloss products, I prefer my lip products to have like sparkles in it. This will just give a nice sheen, but it does what it's supposed to do. If you don't like scented lip products, definitely stay away from this one because the scent will linger for quite some time after you have put this on. So it's not a scent that will immediately dissipate once you use this. So that's just something to consider. So let's go to the cheeks, and let's actually continue with the Essence chocolate collection stuff. So within the collection they did have a cream blush, so this is called Love It Choco a lot blush mousse, and I do believe this might have been a sort of prequel because Essence came out with these mousse blushes within their sort of spring this sort of spring winter launch that they had to update that they had recently. I didn't get anything from that collection, but they did have mousse blushes, so I'm a bit unsure that is this formula actually the same that is in the sort of new update. It's a pretty, I'd say this is actually a pretty unique shade. It's a pink, but it kinda leaves like almost a bit orange. This is actually something that is probably a shade that's close to my sort of natural flush, so if I wouldn't be wearing any makeup and there'd be flush on my cheek, this for some reason is the closest thing that I have seen for what kind of my like sort of flush shade looks, so that was just interesting. I'm gonna pop in the swatch on my hand so you can kind of see it. I do think it's an okay formula. Is it the best like cream blush formula that I have ever worn? No, I definitely felt that to get this to look like even. I did have to work it a bit, and it's not as if the shade was like in pigment or anything, but for some reason getting it to look even, it did require a bit work. You have to remember that these Essence Collection products, these aren't like super expensive, so that maybe shows in the fact that why this perhaps isn't like the most, how should I say, the best blush formula ever. But I wouldn't like, I'm not gonna throw this away because I do think the shade was quite, it's a quite unique shade, and it's very interesting how close this matches to my sort of own flush shade, so or blush shade, so that's just something to like interesting. Is this like something that again I would go out and rebuy? No, I have like other blush formulas that I like much more than this one. Also, this has the chocolate smell like all the other products have, like almost all the other products in the collection have, but unlike with the sort of lip oil, the chocolate scent goes away quite quickly after you have put this on your cheek. So with this one there's no lingering if you for example are sensitive scents or you just don't want to have a chocolate scented cheek product. So with this one the scent will dissipate. Then the most, perhaps, I think this was the like most interesting thing based on at least what went viral on social media. So they came out with Love It Chocolate Highlighter Glaze. And mine is looking pretty, I'm gonna actually show this close by. Mine is looking pretty destroyed because I was initially tried to pick this up when I initially tried this for the first time. I tried to pick this up with a brush, and then I was like putting my brush and I was thinking, why isn't anything sticking? Then I put my finger in it and I realized that okay, this is a very interesting, almost a gel-like highlighter. You're gonna now see the sort of swatch image of this one. I was kind of thinking that how is this comparing, because for example from Essence's last fall edit products I tried the Baby Got Holo Stick highlighter and I detested that one because that was like straight out Vaseline on my cheek and highlighter that wasn't flattering, it lifted my makeup and it just wasn't long lasting, and we didn't have a good time with that one. With this one I do have to say that the experience wasn't as bad. It's definitely still a more like a gel-like highlighter. You do have to use your fingers with this one. At least when I tried to use this with that brush I wasn't able to do it. And also I did feel that with layering you have to be a bit careful with this one. I do think that with this one you didn't have the experience that I had with the Baby Got Holo, where I felt that I had Vaseline and individual glitters on my cheek. I do feel that the finish of this one on my cheeks felt like more of this sort of like a sheen of like a rather this sort of like wet sheen rather than having individual sparkles, which is my highlighter references. So it is like better than the sort of highlighter stick that I tried from the brand. But with this one I noticed that I think when I first time wore this I put it I managed to like I did this that I rubbed my finger in very like a lot because I was a bit like bummed that I initially wasn't able to get any product on my brush, and then I went heavy with my finger to the pan and then I just wiped it on my cheek and I saw it looked like I had a very heavy thick gold layer of highlighter on my cheek. That's just also to consider that if you have a fair skin, be careful how much you build this up, because if you build a lot of this on your cheek then it's gonna look like you have a golden gel cast on your cheek, which is certainly at least not a look that I would prefer. So in using this in moderation, I actually do think it's quite interesting. It's again not maybe something that I would go like think that I want every highlighter to be in this kind of formula, but I do think it's kind of like fun. It's something a bit different with highlighters that at least in my collection I haven't had before, and I think I'm gonna be keeping this one around like more and use it a bit more, because this, at least as a sort of gel or cream kind of highlighter, it was a bit better, like executed a bit better than the sort of stick highlighters that I tried from the brand during last year. Then let's get to the sort of last cheek product. So this is one of my Christmas presents that I got during last year. So this is the Benefit Chocolicious cheek palettes. They had two variations of these cheek trios. Our country's retailer only got this one, but I do know, for example, that on Cult Beauty's website you could have gotten the other one. So this has three of Benefit's face shades. Benefit is notorious for this one, that they do these highlighter palettes. They usually recycle their existing shades. They at times maybe will put one new shade, but if you, for example, have a collection of Benefit cheek palettes, then most likely buying new ones isn't worth it because they have like, they recycle the shades over and over again. The shades that this one has, there's the Hula Bronzer, there's the Villa, and then there's the Cherry Blushes. I do have to say that the Hula Bronzer is one of the like purely bronzer shades that I do enjoy because it's truly a more neutral bronzer. And this, I believe, has the, because Benefit a couple of years ago did the thing where they reformulated basically all of their blushes. I used to have a face palette for Benefit like cheek products, but that had the older like cheek formula. I believe these blushes are in the like new, or not new at this point, but in the like reformulated blush formula. I'm gonna now pop in the image so you can kind of see the swatches. How should I say this? Like, I knew that I did like the Benefit like sort of powder formula, but is it anything like revolutionary? Like, if I would have to compare to, because Benefit is a higher end brand, I would still say that I prefer my Natasha Denona and Pat McGrath like powder cheek products over the Benefit one. There isn't anything wrong with this. Wrong with these powder shades. You can definitely get a very pretty cheek using these ones, but it's just that I don't think it's the like still the most most effortless of the sort of high-end cheap products that I have ever tried. I do like the sort of shade selection this had. As I said, the Hula Bronzer is one of the few like purely bronzer shades that I do like because it's a more neutral leaning, it suits my skin undertone better. And I do like the fact that we have a more muted pink shade, which is the Villa, but we also then have a bit more popping cheek shade, which is a Cherry. I think this is one of the few palettes like where I truly say that for like travel purposes, or if you want a sort of face palette on the go that has your bronzer and blush, I would actually say that this is actually pretty good. The packaging is also like, this is pretty, it's a pretty thin packaging and it's actually not that big because some of their face palettes have been big and at least the ones that one that I had before, the packaging was also quite thick. It wasn't something that I, for example, wanted to travel with because it was just very inconvenient for traveling purposes, but this is actually something that could go into a makeup bag that if you're someone who does your makeup on the go. So as a Christmas present, pretty happy that I got this. Definitely I'm gonna be using this in the future more, but I'm happy that I got this as a Christmas present. I would not have spent my own money on this kind of products, and I do think that with Benefit they definitely fall for me to the category of brands that they have nice products, but because they're more expensive brands and because the products still don't maybe stand out compared to other brands that are within the same price point, they kind of tend to fall like under the radar for me because aside from their mascaras that I do think are quite extraordinary, but a lot of the other products are just kind of like meh, or then I think that okay, I can get a similar products at a drugstore price, or then I buy it from another high-end brand that has a formula that I prefer a bit more. And then to the individual eyeshadow products. So especially during last year, like individual eye products, especially the shimmer shadows, have been very trendy. Especially if you look in TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, so I'm just like reporting what I'm just seeing and hearing from other people, but basically eyeshadow palettes generally, especially during last year, were in trendy. Let's see how it's gonna go this year, and especially the like younger makeup consumers have been more into their individual shimmer shadows. So I have two shimmer eyeshadow products, and one of these is a product that I feel that does actually bring some added value because I approach both of these products within mind thinking that if I have an individual eyeshadow products, and as a person who prefers having full-on palettes rather than individual eye products, the individual eyeshadow has to bring something extra and something like something more to the look for it to have a place in my collection, because then I can just, if it's just mediocre or doesn't perform better than the eyeshadows that I have in my palettes, then there's no use to having individual products, then I just want the things that are in my palettes. So let's maybe first go to the products that were not so successful. So I did sort of go into the hype and I actually tried a few of the e.l.f.'s individual eyeshadows. These took some time to get to our country and it was pretty hard to find these at the store. Now they have these in stores, but it took quite a while for these to get here in Europe. I do know in States these launched like quite some time ago at the beginning of last fall. Mine are in the shade Finest Fleck Glitter Eyeshadow, Pop of Pink, and then Champagne Showers. I actually have demo looks with both of the, like one look that I used both of these, and I'm actually gonna pop in also swatches. So I'm actually gonna first pop in the swatches. So swatched out, I could already feel, and I did do a swatch short on my channel. It has been up for some time now. And definitely when I swatched these out, I was thinking that, okay, you do have to build these a little bit, but I didn't want to judge these just based on the swatches, because actually when I did end up getting to build these to my hand, I did feel that, okay, you could actually get a sort of very nice sparkle with these. And I was thinking that, okay, let's put these into my sort of makeup rotation and see what's gonna happen, because the swatches, even though they took some time to build, I wasn't like completely ready to write this up, because I do think that the shimmer finish was quite nice. It wasn't like, definitely, it was more of a, rather than being like a super sparkle or multi-chromies, it was more of a nice, very this sort of wet looking sheen, at least what I managed to do. Now I'm gonna take out the image, and actually I'm gonna now pop in the two images. So you can probably at least see from the looks that even though I have two different shades, these actually look very similar in the eye, which that already is kind of deducting points, because I still paid €7 each from these. So altogether for individual eyeshadow, €7 kind of expensive if you start counting a individual shimmer shadow in some of my favorite eyeshadow palettes. But I was thinking that, okay, but if they are like give you a nice effect, then it might be worth it. So, but they look very similar. And then the second thing you're probably gonna see, for some reason on eyes these don't translate as sparkly as they did to the swatches. And I tried a lot of things. I actually, in one of these looks, and because it's been quite some time that I took the photos, I don't remember which eye I did where I tried wetting my brush and which eye I did just with my fingers, but I actually did with the both shades that I did the test. And because I'm not a person who actually usually puts their shimmer on with a brush, but for these I wanted to see that was there a way I could make these work. So from both of these look, one eye has been done with a brush that was wetted and one look was done with a finger. And there's no difference in the finish, either using a wet brush that has been wetted with a setting spray or with the one that has been just used my fingers. And I really, even to get them to look like this, it took a lot to like build them. So for me these are just very redundant, and obviously like I maybe should have just like watched more reviews, because the reviews I kind of saw initially, like also they weren't raving about this, but I did want to give these ones a try to see like what was this about, because a lot of people were still buying these, and I was thinking that, okay, well, if a lot of people are buying these, then maybe they could be the next good thing on eyeshadow. But no, I would just like, even though these are like very, how should I say, like I do think €7 for an individual eyeshadow, and for eyeshadow that doesn't really do anything. And I do have like drugstore shimmers in other palettes that gave more impact than these two, then I would just like skip these. If you're looking for good individual eyeshadows, like K-Beauty and Asian Beauty brands, they do a lot of these, and those shadows, there are plenty of that have a sort of dimensional sparkle to them. From Western brands, Moira does very impactful individual eyeshadows. The Moira shadows are more expensive than these ones are, but Moira is still a very reasonably, it's a more mid-range brand. So I would maybe look into K-Beauty, Asian Beauty brands, or look to Moira for these sort of like individual shimmer shadows that give you a pop. The e.l.f. ones, I would not recommend them. So then something that I got as a gift with purchase, and something that I actually do think does bring something to extra. I'm not gonna put a swatch image of this one because this is a loose pigment, so swatching it out on my hand is, how should I say, I'm just gonna have loose pigment on my hand. But I am gonna actually put the image of how this looks opened, because I'm not gonna open this up, because otherwise I'm gonna have a loose pigment on my desk. So this is the Glossgods individual, oh my god, now I'm blanking. So the Glossgods loose pigment, and this is in the shade Hoarfrost. These were their individual, I think they had 2 of these loose pigments with their Christmas collection. These did sell out. I had checked on their website, this unfortunately isn't available anymore, but they have done these loose pigments previously also with their collections. I'm gonna kind of show maybe on the back so you can kind of get the impression, and as you can see it's clearly something that there's loose shimmers in too. I'm gonna now show the image how this looks opened. It's a very interesting, it's sort of a pink to golden sparkles within this jar. I do like have to say that when I first opened this, and I was kind of thinking that I was a bit skeptic initially that okay, but it was this like, I got this as a free because I ordered a lot of their holiday collection stuff on their when they had their Black Friday sale. So I was thinking initially that am I just gonna directly like try to give this to someone else or just throw this away, because I'm not usually a person who's fan of any kind of maybe loose powders, maybe the only like loose powder product that I'm excited about. But I decided that okay, since I got this for free, I'm gonna try it out, and it is like you can see it kind of does already. It looks quite pretty in the jar when you open it. Now I'm gonna pop in the one look that I have actually worn this several times, which actually tells that I'm much more liking this rather than the e.l.f. ones. I wore this over the YSL, or at least the image you should be seeing. So this, in the image you're seeing, I wore this over the YSL Holiday Quad, which has this very, it has kind of nice, these sort of very traditional luxury brand shimmers, but they aren't anything sparkly, so like super sparkly, so I thought that, okay, what a great opportunity to use a product like this to see that can we add maybe a bit more like extra oomph to the eye look, even though the YSL shadow quality itself is a pretty good formula, it's just a different kind of eyeshadow formula compared to some others. And I do have to say, like, with this one I can say that there is like, it's not a gap particularly, but I can feel that this does actually give the kind of extra effect that I can like maybe say that for people who would prefer this sort of like loose pigments, this might actually bring something extra to your looks. If you want a like how I use this is that I either wetted my pinky finger area, or that then I wetted a flat brush, and then I carefully picked out some of the shimmers from the like jar, and then I just dabbed it over the sort of eyeshadow that I wanted to like use it with. I would definitely recommend, if you use it the way that I'm using it, don't do your base makeup first, because I wasn't using a glitter glue and I didn't want to buy glitter glue separately to try out this one. You're definitely gonna have a bit of sparkles under your eyes, and that's why you have to be a bit careful like how much you're taking into your like on your finger or on your brush, because if you take a lot and just do this kind of very like swiping motion, then you're gonna have it like all over. And for that kind of purposes, if you use it like I did, then you're gonna get this kind of result where you will have like nice, these sort of dimensional individual sparkles. You're not gonna get this super opaque layer that like traditional like shimmer pan eyeshadow will give you, or you're not gonna get any like super multi-chrome effect that a multi-chrome eyeshadow. But what I do think this does is that you're gonna get a nice sort of dimensional extra sparkle that is definitely something that people will notice it. I think, for example, I might have used this. No, I didn't use it to my New Year's look, but there's been like a couple of occasions that I've been now doing this that I felt that I did want to give something a bit extra to my eyeshadow look, because the eyeshadow that I was using alone wasn't maybe as the shimmer shades weren't as maybe sparkly as I prefer, so then I just put a little bit of this one over the top, and you're definitely gonna have a very visible effect. And I do kind of like the pink golden reflect that this has. Is this still like something that's gonna make me like buy loose pigments? Like no, once I have used this up, I'm definitely just gonna like throw the recycle the jar, and that's gonna be it. I'm not gonna go on, because this is just not like not the preferred. Like if I would be using this regularly and would want this, you're definitely still gonna get a better result with a sort of tacky eyeshadow base. But for the sort of a few occasions once in a while, I do think like this is much more worth keeping, comparing to the e.l.f. ones that I feel that did absolutely nothing. So if you are a fan of loose shimmer pigments, maybe look into the Glossgods ones once they release more of these. As I said, this was a limited edition release, but if they come out more of these in the future and you like these sort of dimensional extra sparkles onto your looks, and you're willing to go the effort that this kind of product needs to get it to work and not have like sparkle all over your face, then I do think this is like, it's a very pretty and beautiful sparkle effect that you will be getting. That was maybe a bit of a random assortment of products, but as I said, I wanted to tell what my opinions about them. What were my favorites? I do have to say that this was a bit of a meh review overall. Like none of these products, like I do have to say like my favorites, surprisingly the loose pigment, as I said, still not something I'm gonna be going out buying more things, but as something that I got with gift of purchase, I do think this definitely has something extra to it that it's gonna be staying in my collection until I use this up. And yeah, maybe the e.l.f. blush, as I said, this wasn't my favorite blush formula, but the blush shade of this one, it's sort of a interesting, my kind of skin tone, like my kind of natural flush matching shade, which is very interesting. So even though the formula of this one maybe not so great, but because of the shade of it, was definitely something that I think that it's still something that I do want to keep using, even after reviewing. Comment down below, have you tried any of these products and what did you think about them, or if there's been some other new products that you've been trying out, then how have you liked them? If you like this video, push the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell button if you want to get notifications from future content. You can also find me with the same nickname, Makeup Hedgehog, on Instagram. I hope I can see you soon in another video. Bye bye!